Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melody and welcome to my Simple Valley home. In today's video, we're going to be decorating 3 of my favorite spaces for fall. My entryway table, my dining room table, and my new favorite cottage shelf that I recently got from Goodwill. So grab yourself a hot drink and relax, and let's go ahead and start decorating. Sometimes it's not always easy to add character to your home, especially with the new build, but you can do that by adding just a touch of cottage core elements that are thrifted, such as this beautiful shelf. It just brings that antique feel. I wanted to add more fall feels in this corner as well, and so I bought these beautiful Etsy prints. I will leave them in the description box down below, but the red hues are perfect for my red theory that I will be using in my fall decor this year. To start decorating this little shelf, we're going to be using some vintage feels by using books. I'm going to be pulling the colors from the print above, so I'm going to be using pinky tones and green. Next, let's add some texture in this space and fall feels, and to do that I'm going to be using this Hobby Lobby velvet ribbon that I recently picked up from my fall haul. I'm going to be creating a little grouping, the same method that I did for my fall cabinet. Not only does this create texture, but it also keeps the books from falling down, and I know that my decor will not fall off the shelf by using this method. Being that this little shelf is off to my kitchen, I thought it would be the perfect fitting to add a beautiful picture. This red and white transferware was the perfect thing. I added more dried elements by using the dried florals that I got, hydrangeas, from my neighbor. And I wanted to pull more of those golden red hues by using a little bit of this eucalyptus that I got from Hobby Lobby. When I picked up this little shelf from Goodwill, the first thing that came to my mind was adding a thrifted plate. I knew that it needed visual interest in the back, and so this gorgeous bum plate that I recently got from my local antique store was the perfect thing. The orange tones just perfectly out of my arrangement. I always love to add lighting to my little vignettes, and this little cutie I got from Amazon. I will leave it in the description box down below. It's definitely giving me all those fall feels mixed with a little bit of coziness and a touch of primitive. Moving over to my entryway table, I wanted to create lots of impact in this space to just have my guests greeted with just all the fall feels. And to do that, I added this beautiful greenery that I got from my local nursery. I just wanted to talk about my beautiful florals that I got from Lanahan Nursery. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're realistic looking. And I wanted to bring in an element that just screamed fall, and the first thing that came to my mind was definitely bittersweet. How I attached it is I sandwiched 2 stems together, going opposite way. And I took the vines at the end and just stuffed it in the back of this mirror and bent it so it just kind of sits up on top of this mirror. This mirror is a swivel mirror, so it goes back and forth. So I love that because I'm able to set things on top. And this is just the perfect element for fall. It definitely needed something on top of this space just to kind of pull in all the greenery. Just like my little shelf, we are going to add lighting in this space, and I absolutely adore this copper lamp that I recently picked up from Goodwill. The lampshade also came with it as well. It definitely gives me cottage feels, and I just love copper elements for fall. Let's add an inspirational pic to pull everything together and also create visual interest. This beautiful floral print I got from Etsy and the frame I got from Goodwill. It pulls those copper feels from the lamp and it just ties everything together, and I am going to place it on the left hand side along with the lamp just to create a grouping and also heaviness. To break up all the copper orange feels, we are going to add this beautiful topiary that I got from Goodwill. I placed it in a pot just to kind of give it elevation, and I also wanted to cover up the pot that it came in. I added moss, and then I used more of that velvet ribbon from Hobby Lobby just to create texture. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about my next item that I'm going to be adding in this space, and that is my glass dome. Guys, if you guys ever see glass domes at antique stores or Goodwill, Facebook Market, you pick it up, because these are the most inexpensive and fun way to add spice to your decor, to your vignettes, just something different. You make it your own by making little terrariums, and that's exactly what I did with this. So how I made this beautiful little piece is I stuffed moss on the bottom and I added a pumpkin. And you guys remember from my last video of Decorate With Me with my cabinet, if you guys have missed that video, I'll leave it in the description box down below. But decorating for my fall cabinet, one of my elements was grapevine wreaths, and I pulled them apart and I added them in my cabinet. Well, I had some left over and I took apart, and it kind of creates like a little spring. So I just stuffed it up in there, and I stole a pick from my bittersweet up above, and I placed it in the back. I don't know if you can see, I just kind of put it there and just laid it on top. And so I just put the container on top, and there you go. It is the most easy and inexpensive and fun way to add something different to your tablescape or entryway table, anything. If you guys have any questions on this item, please leave a comment down below, or you can visit me on my Instagram page at My Simple Valley Home. But this was like easy, inexpensive, and just fun. And the pumpkin, by the way, is from Hobby Lobby, and the vine is from Goodwill. So, and I got this dome, I believe, at an antique store, probably Brass Armadillo, years ago. Now we're going to continue on by making a grouping of 3 in my right hand corner of my vignette. And I'm going to be using another glass dome that I got from my antique store. I'm going to be using more of these cords that I just had tied in with my fall cabinet, creating another fall element. And so we're going to set it in this little space just to kind of create a little collection of fall feels. Now let's add some vintage touches by using, again, vintage books. Not only does this create a little riser that we're going to be using for my glass pumpkin, but it also pulls in that red theory. One of my favorite finds that I found at HomeGoods is this gorgeous antique etched glass pumpkin. I got it with my mom for my shopping trip at HomeGoods. If you guys have missed that video, I'll leave it in the description box down below. But I am obsessed with these glass light pumpkins. They just bring that perfect little glow to your vignettes. I wanted to make this pumpkin look like it is just sitting on a little stack of leaves. So I had leftover picks that I've had for quite some time. They are dried florals from Joann's. If you guys ever spot dried leaves, pick them up. They are the perfect natural element to add to your fall tablescape. Now I am a maximalist. Now that my tablescape could be done, I want to add something else. To do that, I'm going to be using more of my red theory by using this red transferware that I thrifted from Goodwill. Because this is my entryway table, we are going to add a good smelling fall candle, and this candle came from HomeGoods. The vintage glass feel is the perfect touch, and also the amber color just pulls in all my copper elements in this space. The final little touch to my little tablescape here is this gorgeous little pumpkin that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. Isn't it the cutest? It tied in perfectly with my little terrarium, and plus you can never have too many pumpkins for fall. Now, I've had this chair for quite some time. I just love the Nancy Meyers vibes, especially with the needlepoint. I picked it up for $25 from a little store called Yesteryear. Unfortunately, they are closed, that little shop. I miss it dearly. I've always shopped there quite some time, but I wanted to add more of that red theory and also create a little bit of a vintage touch. This gorgeous red crushed cranberry pillow came from Amazon. I'll leave it in the description box down below. I do have some exciting news for my dining room. I'm finally starting to decorate my blank wall behind my table, and my husband hung up my recent fall find, this gorgeous oil painting from Antique Brass Armadillo. This oil painting is definitely a start to future plans on this wall, but for right now, we're going to start decorating this dining room table. This gorgeous throw I got from Amazon. I will leave it in the description box down below. If you guys have watched my fall haul, we are going to be using this throw as a tablecloth. Not only is it very inexpensive, but it definitely creates a little bit of a different texture. I got this idea from Pinterest, but the best thing is we are going to be using this throw next year on my couch in my living room. My recent fall haul involved this gorgeous basket from Goodwill for $1. Now, when I picked it up, it was a little out of the ordinary, but I immediately knew that I wanted to use it in my dining room table. I wanted to add leaves and just a really beautiful pumpkin and just have that as my statement and centerpiece in the middle. For my greenery, we are going to be pulling the color tones and feels from the blanket, and to start with that are these gorgeous stems from Michaels. The green and red hues are just perfect. I wanted to create a little bit of whimsy and movement just to kind of lift the centerpiece up, and so we're going to be using these vine stems from Joann's. I wanted a little bit more of a texture, and fall feels screams to me is a little bit of like a wheat, so we're going to be using these from Michaels. Let's go ahead and start layering our centerpiece, almost like a lasagna. So my first part is to create a little bit of a base, and so these leaf stems will be the first start. I'm going to be simply fanning them out just so that way we can cover up the whole thing. Now, I picked up 3 stems only because I wanted the basket to show through these leaves. So I wanted to use it sparingly because we will be building this up and it will get full over time as we layer up our centerpiece. Now that we have our filler, which is our base of our centerpiece, we are going to be using a thriller, and that is the vines. I'm going to be using the same method and spreading them out as so, rearranging. Now, I'm not done yet. We are going to do a little bit of fluffing once we get this all put together. It was very hard to choose a pumpkin, but this one was the perfect fit. This came from Home Goods. It was $14.99, and the color tones pulled everything together from the stems all the way down to my blanket. We are going to go ahead and add this gorgeous pumpkin to the centerpiece, and we're going to start fluffing. Now, the one tip that I can give you guys is just to make sure that all your floral stems, no matter what, if you're using it as a centerpiece or even just a simple vase, you want to make sure that you weave every little piece together. Think of it as your garden at home. Things don't sit on top of each other. They don't grow on top of each other. They weave through each other. So the more fluffing you do, the more you kind of interlace it together, just maybe twirling it around each end, creating movement, creating texture. It will look more realistic than you guys just stacking the stems on top of each other. Now that we got our filler and thriller, we are going to use the wheat picks as our spiller. We're going to cut these off just to make individual stems. Now, when you place your stems in your centerpiece, you really don't want to overthink it, but I will give you guys a little tip just to make it a little bit more easy when you guys do your arrangements. Take your at least four big stems and create a box. Put one on each corner. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the leftover picks and you're going to cut them in half to kind of create like little minis. Take your minis and put it underneath the centerpiece, and then one above your centerpiece underneath. Weave it in and out and make it sporadic. It doesn't have to be uniform. The less uniform, the more realistic it will look. Because it is my spiller, I ended up having some of those kind of hang over the edge just to make it look a little bit more effortless. I'm going to do a little bit more fluffing, but I felt like it was missing a little bit of something. So I had some dried bittersweet left over for one of my projects. I cut the bittersweet and I'm going to just lace it through just sporadically around my arrangement. Not only does it add a different texture with the berries and stems, it just makes it look a little bit more realistic because I'm adding dried florals. I wanted this tablescape to be very simple. I wanted the basket to be the main showcase, but we're still going to be adding a little bit of ambiance to this tablescape without making it look a little bit more formal. And so I'm going to be using these beautiful amber glass candlestick holders that I've had for years. I picked them up from Hobby Lobby. To complete these candlestick holders, I'm going to be using almost like a pumpkin spiced creamy candlestick. I wanted to make sure that the colors again were pulled from my blanket, and these were the perfect fit. I got them from Hobby Lobby.